morning, everyone. Thank you for coming today. I'm going to make a brief statement and then we'll move on from there. Yesterday afternoon, detectives from the Shiawassee County Sheriff's Office made an arrest in the July 2000 murder of Rachel Scott. We do have in custody Lorenzo Leopoldo Rodriguez, who's currently in our facility and has been charged with murder. This is a very emotionally charged day for many people, especially the Scott family. My administration at the time of this case were all detectives, and we all put many man hours in the original investigation. I would like to thank the Scott family for their courage, patience, and confidence in the Shiawassee County Sheriff's Office and our ability to solve this case. I'd like to thank the FBI, Flint, for the many man hours and financial support that they've put into this case working with our detectives. MSP analyst Julie Kleitman, who was very instrumental in the forensic end of this investigation, and especially Detective Lieutenant Dave Kirk. Lieutenant's literally been from coast to coast, north to south, on follow-ups and investigation leads, interviews. His dedication and tenacity in this case spanned almost 11 years has brought us here today. I'm very proud of this department and the work that's been done on this, and I'm happy for the Scott family. Obviously, we can't bring Rachel back, but we can offer them closure today. The Scotts obviously wish to have their privacy. Mr. Scott has prepared a written statement, and at this time I'm going to allow him to have an opportunity to read that prepared statement to you. Why don't I just switch it to one up to the voice, Mr. Scott, and sit right here.
Thank you. Well, good morning. It's been a very emotional 48 hours for us, but we waited 11 years. So today is a great day. It begins the process of justice for our daughter Rachel. I have a family statement to read, but first there are some thank yous and some people we'd like to acknowledge. First of all, we'd like to thank the Shiawassee County Law Enforcement, including the Detective Bureau, the State Police and Special Task Force, as well as Prosecuting Attorney Randy Colbury and Assistant Prosecutor Sarah Edwards. We would like to extend special thanks to Sheriff George Braidwood, Under Sheriff Bob Payne, and Detectives Doug Powell and Mike Ash. These men have been with us since the beginning of the investigation, and we are grateful for their efforts and their friendship. However, we would not be here today without the hard work and dedication of Lieutenant Detective Dave Kirk. Throughout this process, he not only solved this crime, but he also took special care of us and of Rachel. It was not just a case to him, it became personal. He looked beyond the girl that was murdered and found the girl that we love. He will always be our hero. We would also like to thank the community, our family and friends, and also our church family. Because of their prayers and uplifting support, we have survived this tragedy. We are truly blessed to be loved by so many good people. But most of all, we'd like to thank God for answering our prayers. Through faith in Him, we never once doubted that He would see us through to this point, and we would have our answers. We also knew this would happen in God's good time. During these past 11 years, there have been many painful rumors that were written and said about Rachel's cause of death. We are happy to have the truth come out once and for all. My daughter was the victim of a brutal murder. Those who thought otherwise need to remember that these stories are hurtful, difficult for family to hear, and most of all, completely untrue. People could not believe that this crime could happen in their community and tried to find other reasons why it did. But it is hard to find reason to an unreasonable act of violence and hatred. The truth is, we are regular people, and Rachel was a regular girl. We should all be careful not to victimize the victim. Rachel was a kind young woman, and we found it difficult to believe that anyone could hurt such a gentle soul. She was a loyal friend to many, and there are so many instances when she put a friend's need over her own. She was a good Christian, and she lived her Christianity. She had a soft heart for her family, and we are thankful she was able to spend time with so many of them just before her death. She had not yet begun to realize all that she was capable of being. She was also a gifted artist and had a promising future planned in that area. In our minds, we will never forget the baby girl that dragged her stuffed bunny around, the little girl who loved her cat, or the strong woman that went away to college in Pittsburgh. She was a wonderful daughter and a protective big sister to Abby and Adam. We have 20 years of beautiful memories of our Rachel that no one can take away from us. It sounds strange to say, but it took several years for us to realize that even when this crime was solved, Rachel would not be coming back. This tragedy never ended for us. It dominated our daily thoughts and our lives. In a way, today has a very liberating feeling, as if we were being let out of prison as her murderer is being imprisoned. The most satisfying thing happening for us today is that this monster now knows that he did not get away with killing our beautiful Rachel, whom so many loved and cherished. Today is about justice for Rachel, and we continue to ask for your prayers to keep us strong as we move forward in this process. Our lives are changed forever, but we are confident that Rachel would want us to be happy. 11 years of waiting is now over. Thank you for your time.
Why don't we have Lieutenant first? Do you have some questions? Dave?
What was the big break in the case, Randy?
It was just a culmination of legwork and as stated, Lieutenant Kirk has been tireless in his efforts in this case. And how big is the report, David?
A little under 3,000 pages.
3,000 page report. And again, we really can't get into a lot of specifics about the case. You know, as you know, you can't try the case in the press. It has to be tried in the courtroom. And but through this process of the investigation, and really throughout the years I've been involved in the case, well, my chief assistant has sort of been taking the point. Prior to Sheriff Edward, it was Craig Weininger. And so over the years, I don't know how many meetings, how many briefings, how many conversations that we've had about the case, but we've continued to pursue, this case to its end. And this is the start of the process. This is the start of the bringing this individual to trial. Mr. Rodriguez currently is serving a term in the Department of Corrections. He was convicted and sentenced, I believe, in 2009 on 3 counts of delivery of a controlled substance. The sentence at that time was 34 to 84 months in prison. And do you know what his outdate, his earliest outdate would have been?
June 11th, 2000 was the earliest.
June 11th, 2000 was his earliest outdate. He has, including those 3 that he's serving the term here, he has a total of, I believe, 8 other convictions. So he has a total of 7 felonies and 4 misdemeanors.
Mr. Colburn, is he someone who was in your sights? I mean, how did this person come to you?
I believe he's always been a person of interest in the investigation.
Come on, my microphone,
I believe that he's always been a person of interest in the investigation. The focus never entirely left him. As we pursued the investigation, we tried to exhaust everything that came to us as investigators to make sure we weren't leaving leads unturned and not checking each investigative avenue as it came to us. We were never able to clear Mr. Rodriguez as a person of interest from the onset to the culmination and then the warrant.
Why did you go in
There's a lot of variables that come into play, some misdirection, actually significant misdirection that was given to us as investigators. Each time information is presented to us, we have to treat it as genuine and as authentic information and have to exhaust each one of those things that sent us to locations all throughout the country to make sure that those were properly exhausted, including Tennessee, locations in Florida, locations in Texas, locations in Southern California, Northern California. Additionally, witnesses were brought to our attention that we need to make contact with, even including active service members that were deployed in Afghanistan and other areas. So the amount of time that we spent exhausting those leads and having the opportunity to find these people, some of whom did not want to be found and have contact with law enforcement, made it extremely difficult.
I know you can't tell us any details, but is there any information, was it tech, is there evidence, I mean, what, like we just mentioned, essentially, if you can't tell us what progress, can you tell us anything in terms of why this person?
Persistent investigation, there was really no tip or defining moment. And we were, like I said, we were never able to eliminate Mr. Rodriguez as a person of interest, and then finally were able to fully develop him as a suspect to the point that we could obtain a warrant.
How does it feel to finally have an arrest?
It's a wonderful sensation, and again, for our office and the prosecuting attorney's office, it's wonderful. Our hearts go out to the Scott family. And as much as we are committed to it, we certainly don't have the investment that they have and have not suffered the loss that they have.
Did Mr. Rodriguez live in the area? Did he live in the area at this time? Or, did he know the victim?
He had been an Owasso resident, spent time in Shiawassee County. He also had spent time in Tennessee, had spent time in Texas, in Southern California, and as well as in Northern California, in the Redding, California, Los Molinos, California areas.
Did he know the victim?
He was an associate.
Was he in the